On the surface she looks fine, but what's inside ain't always in line. Life is good, life is bad. She's a mess, but a happy one.
Hi, I'm Little Happy Mess and welcome to my podcast.
Hello and welcome back. Welcome to episode 53, How to Cope When Systems Are Failing Us. I'm Nina, I'm your host, and I'm really happy you're here with me again. So this episode is a rather difficult one. I said that about the last one too. The last one was a power talk, and that's just difficult for me because it's kind of hard to record something motivating. Like, I'm running out of words, and it would be so much harder if you would be in front of me, then I could help you a lot better. But this episode is about how to deal with the fact that systems are failing us. What do I mean with that? So, for example, my personal situation right now is that I only work 20 hours. So in Austria, full-time means 40 hours a week. And I'm only working 20 hours because I had a burnout. It was diagnosed in January of 2026. We're now in June 2026. When I'm recording this episode, it will be published later. But it's been going on since 2023, and I just didn't know it was a burnout. It wasn't full blown. I did still take action before it went all bad, and I couldn't move at all. So there is people who have burnouts who had it far worse than I had it. What happened for me was that when I finally realized something's wrong, was when my brain stopped working. So mid-conversation, I wouldn't know what I was talking about, what the topic was. So I don't know, my brain kind of didn't function anymore. So it wasn't fun, what was I talking about? It was really gone. I would stand in front of a zebra crossing wanting to cross the road, but standing before the zebra crossing, I forgot what I wanted to do. So cars were stopping and I was just standing there like an idiot. So it was really bad. It was the same because I was working in a kindergarten at that time. So I was in the kindergarten, the kids would need something and my brain would just shut down. That was my brain's way of saying, so we've reached the end of our battery. But for example, the whole kids situation was at 10 in the morning. Same with the zebra crossing situation. All I did that day was going to the doctors, but that's it. So even after very little, nothing much happened on that day, but my brain was already shutting down. And that's when I finally realized something's going on. What I did was I did a psychological rehabilitation in Austria. So for everyone who lives in Austria, that's free. You can either go to a psychiatrist or to your, I don't know how you call it in English, but regular doctor and Hausarzt. And they can prescribe that to you. It's a 6-week program. You can either do it sleeping at the places or ambulant, so where you can always go home. I did that one. And it's for 6 weeks and it's really beneficial. It really helped me. But everyone who has ever had a burnout or knows people who had it, it takes a long time to get over it. I want to do a whole episode on burnout prevention, but that just came to my mind right now. And so afterwards, you still need time to recover. So what they recommended me was to actually not work and to chill. But that was just not possible for me. First of all, because I'm me, I always have to do something, otherwise I go crazy. More crazy than I already am. And also because money-wise, that just wasn't possible. I needed to work. So I checked my options. I found a really cool... So I quit the old job because in the kindergarten environment, it's just very hard to chill, especially because in Austria, systems are failing us. There's not enough people working there. Everybody's sick all the time because it's so exhausting. You have 2 people in a kindergarten group with 25 kids. Some of them have special needs, and it's just extremely demanding. You go out, you're completely exhausted. And for someone who is struggling, that's not the ideal environment, which is such a pity, but that's just what it is. And also I realized that I'm just not made for 25 kids at once, because I like to work with people in small groups, and I'm very sensitive with noises. So like I'm good with kids, but like kindergarten is just too much if you're like me. But I had to go into the field to actually realize, and then I started appreciating where I come from, so offices, a lot more. And yeah, I found an office job in a really cool NGO. I'm still working there, I'm really happy. And I also said that I'm not gonna take on positions where you have a lot of responsibility anymore. So I used to be a project lead and yeah, had more responsibility, and now I'm actually office assistant kind of, which does me a lot better because yeah, it's less responsibility. But yeah, the problem is that even with 20 hours, it's very hard to get by, and it's actually not possible. So I've been doing this for April, May, it's the 3rd month now, and I just realized I cannot. So I have 200 euros of emergency money each month, and I always need it. I actually need more than that because there's always some unexpected things happening, and then you need the money. And then there's fun things like I have to pay 750 euros for electricity, which makes absolutely no sense to me, but here we are. And those kind of things then really hit you. And I'm very lucky. I come from a privileged family, so in my 750 euro case, for example, I was able to ask my dad. He gave me the money. He didn't even lend it to me. He just gave it to me, which I'm very blessed that I, with 31 years, doesn't feel very empowering, but I was able to ask my parents for support. They supported me for this situation, but like long term, this is just not working out with my 20-hour job. And even though I cut all my expenses down to the minimum, it's just not working out, which is very sad because I would actually need to work less, or like the 20 hours are like enough for me. It's already like I can already feel some of the symptoms coming back, and that's why for the past, so I called in sick for 2 days last week, because also my body was shutting down again. And then I have Friday, today, Saturday and Sunday, and I was like, I'm just at home, I'm resting, I'm not doing much. I'm trying to not add too many stimuli. Today I got super bored, so I was like, let's do some podcast episodes. But yeah, so I'm trying to find ways to calm down again. But yeah, I have to work more. So I'm looking for a second job, yeah, I'll probably work 30 or 35 hours from, if I hopefully get the job, from whenever I get the job onwards. But actually, I'm not capable of working those hours. I mean, I will be, because I will try to find ways how to discharge afterwards, and I'm in a very cool work environment, and the second one will be very cool too, so I'm able to talk about it and have less to-dos if it stresses me. So that's like perfect environments for that, but still it will be very demanding. And that's how the system is, well, other ways too, but that's how it is currently failing me. And I think everyone has their personal story of how systems are failing them. And I kind of think we're not angry enough. I'm glad that no one's on that no one's burning down the government here in Austria, because that would be far worse. But like, I feel like we're tolerating a lot still. And I was like, why is that? And I think it's because not just the government, but let's say influential institutions have a very good way of distracting us, of blaming other situations. So, for example, what I can see in Austria is that there is left against right. It's a big thing. We rather blame all the foreigners who work in Austria or who are in Austria, and blame them for problems. And I feel like the government or right-wing parties are very good at doing that. So no. The problem is not that, I don't know, that we are letting you pay a lot of taxes, and that we are constantly cutting social services, and that our wages are not increasing at all, but the costs of living are. The problem are the foreigners. That happens from the way I observe it, in countries like the US as well, and I think in a lot of other European countries. And if it's not the foreigners that are to blame, then it's, I don't know, some religions that are to blame, or it's, I don't know, you can insert whatever in there. And I feel like that's just, I don't feel like it, but I know that's just a distraction. I think it was Carl Jung who once said that it's so much easier to blame someone outside than to actually look within, for example, your country, and see what's going wrong. He predicted the whole the aliens are gonna come and kill us all, so looking for an external enemy and blame that enemy for all problems, cause anxiety, so people only think about this danger and not the real problems within their communities or structures or states or whatever. And if you go back to Nazi Austria and Germany, the real problems we were facing at that time was that we were in a really big recession, because World War I happened and then eventually World War II. And what happened? We started blaming the Jews, or we were believed or made to believe that the Jews are the problem, which wasn't true at all. Like, they were just living their lives like everyone was. But it seemed easier. And the manipulation was so good that I think many people believed it. A lot of people, otherwise this wouldn't have worked. And we continued doing the same thing. Like, who we should actually be angry at the moment is governments, and how they're constantly cutting social services and social subventions and so on, and not increase our wages. But really we blame the foreigners, or, you know, whoever, whatever. Who we should really be angry about are governments, and also fucking billionaires. And I think Elon Musk just became a trillionaire. Like, this imbalanced kind of shit. So while a lot of people here in Austria and in other countries too, of course, are struggling, can barely come by. Like, for example, in the US, people have jobs, but even when having a job, you cannot afford to live in a flat or in a house or whatever. You have to live in your car. And then they just tell us, you just have to work more. You just have to do more. You have to, I don't know, more. But you cannot, like, you already have a job. Like, what else are you supposed to do? And then there's people who are billionaires, who are trillionaires, who have so much money and so much influence and so much power. And it's not necessary. Like, if you take away one of their billions and redistribute it in the world, nothing's gonna happen to them. Like, they would still be filthy rich, but we just don't do that. We would rather take it from people who are already struggling in form of taxes or whatever. And that's what makes me very, very angry, because right now we live in a world that is very unjust, and very, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, we have enough resources, there is enough money, it's just distributed in a very stupid way, and we're not doing anything about it. Like, that's what I mean with we're not angry enough. And I don't know what it takes for us to get angrier. But then when I, for example, what I observed with the Met Gala, people didn't view this event as that cool anymore, and I think they used to. But now, like, we are getting louder, we are getting angrier, and hopefully it will soon lead to changes, because it cannot go on like that. And I don't know what this does to me. Like, for example, in my personal situation that I explained before, was that I was kind of like giving up, okay, so this world sucks, everything's shitty, I hate life, blah, blah, blah. So I went down the whole downward spiral, and then yesterday and the day before, I tried to get out of it again, and see if there's something that I can do, because I feel like we are all being pushed down, kind of. We see so much negative shit happening, and what it does to us is that we become numb and think we cannot change anything. Like, rich people are always gonna get richer, the ones who are violent and loud and have the most money, they always win. But that's not true. If we would organize as people, we would be able to fight back. And I don't mean in a violent way, but for example, if we would all stop buying Amazon products, then Jeff Bezos is not a problem anymore. So united, we can actually go against what's happening. But that would mean that we realize that the manipulation that's going on, like telling us that it's the foreigners to blame, it's for me it's always just foreigners that come up, but foreigners or the lefties or the righties or your neighbor, or I don't know, but like those are not the real problems. Women against men. We shouldn't fight each other, but we should like stop and see what are the real problems and who is benefiting of us fighting each other over stupid beliefs, when the real problems come from somewhere else, when we're being distracted, just like I said before with the aliens, or what happened in Nazi Austria and Germany, or fascist Italy, and I think in Russia at the time as well. But anyway, we really need to focus on the real problem and unite and like give our beliefs aside, because right is not better than left. It doesn't, like, that's not the real problem, but the real problem is governments and powerful institutions, and whoever profits from us not getting by, or you know what I mean. And we need to get out of this, how do you call it? In German it's Ohnmacht. Like out of this state where we think we can't do anything, and then we just lie there in our sadness and desperation and whatever, and isolation maybe, and actually look, where does it hurt us the most at the moment, and what can we do about it? And when I do that, then I'm like, oh my God, but I cannot change a whole system. I'm just one person. And no, I cannot. But what my psychotherapist once told me, which was very smart, is that I have to trust that everyone will work on some area and kind of like spin the wheel a little. And then if all little wheels start spinning, then something changes. So working together in the way that everyone goes where it hurts them most, where it affects them most, and does something there. So for me, that is everything that has to do with psychological needs of people. So therapy here in Austria is very expensive. You pay 120 euros, I think, for a session, then you get 33 euros back. So you still pay 90 euros for a therapy session, and most people cannot afford it. and it's very hard to get a subsidized therapy contract. It's almost impossible for most people, and you have to wait so long that until then you're probably dead. Like, I'm just gonna put it out like that. So a lot of people cannot afford therapy. So I'm trying to do the little contribution I can with doing this podcast, for example, and also by working in an NGO that provides therapeutic service for people who really cannot afford it. We do more than that, but it's not that important right now. And also by talking about the things that really bother me, like this episode, for example, talking about it, putting it out there in the world so that, I don't know, that people who think no one can relate with them, people can relate. And that's how I try to contribute and change something. And then I have other friends, for example, who are in politics and try to change things there. Then I have other friends who try to change things in the environmental sector, and so on and so on. So everybody's working on the area that bothers them the most, and where that hopefully leads is that we will enable a change in systems in order to let us humans be humans again, and not make us suffer so much, and in the way that unnecessarily suffer, because that's like, there is suffering in life, but right now the things I address, they're not necessary, they're just there. We made them up. We said that, okay, you're Elon Musk, you get €1 trillion, and then you're Nina and you get 1,400 euros. And then, of course, people have it far worse than me. They get less money they have. So I'm not trying to be the victim here, but I think you get what I mean. What I think, or what I want to emphasize is, let's not fight each other, but use our voices, our anger, our power to unite and fight for our rights, fight for our wages, fight for people being able to earn enough to have good social services, give parents more money so they can afford childcare, and don't make it so difficult for people to have children, because we need children, we want children, children are awesome, and whatever other problems that I didn't address because they don't directly concern me and I didn't think of them. But don't fall for the manipulation going on where we fight each other. No, it's not men against women, it's not left against right, it's not whatever else, it's not us against the foreigners or whatever. It is us against the systems, the governments, the institutions, the billionaires. You know what I mean. So don't fall for it. Fight for your rights. Go wherever it hurts you most and try what you can change there. In Austria and Vienna, there's so many organizations where you can donate, and if you don't have money, where you can help in other ways, but do something. Don't let them, manipulate you. Don't let them put you down. Okay, so get up and get active in a non-violent way. Okay, I think I've mentioned everything that was important to me today. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please subscribe on YouTube, comment, share this episode, and give me a 5-star recommendation on Spotify. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.